You don't need another strategy. Here's what you actually need to figure out why you can't implement the things that you already know. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, former psychologist, now business coach, and I help women just like us to build profitable private practices, usually in under 12 months. Being neurodivergent means I see the patterns that other coaches miss, but it also means I'm a truth teller, so I'm not interested in giving you any business advice that sounds good or might be trending, but doesn't actually work for us. Welcome to the Practice Momentum podcast, where we're going to get your private practice sorted out. Thanks so much for being here, and let's get on with the next episode. If you're a ChatGPT user, you are going to love me after this episode because get ready. I'm about to blow your socks off. Well, not me. OpenAI is blowing your socks off. I'm just sharing the news. This is going to be a real game changer for you. And I'm not even using ChatGPT's words there. Like, I don't like it when he says game changer. That just came from me naturally and organically, but it really will change things for you. It is going to save you so much time with your marketing. So if you're not a marketing fan and you dread it and all those kinds of things, you're going to want to hear this. And same with your admin. Like, if you're just not an admin person, this will be so helpful. Of course, I'm going to always say, probably best not to be using client-facing data with AI still. I'm just a bit nervous about it at the moment because I still feel, just personally, it's a little bit still wild west. But for your non-client-facing things, this could be super duper helpful. So you're going to learn some stuff today. You can learn a few new terms, so don't be scared. I'm going to explain what they are and things like that. It doesn't really matter about the terms per se, but you need to know what they are so you can find the things, okay? That's why I've got to share them with you. Otherwise, I'll try and keep this as non-techie as possible. But basically, you can use this. If you are already using ChatGPT, you're going to be able to do this. I know. And if you're a Claude person, don't panic. You've already had access to this for the longest time. As I was saying before, ChatGPT, it's still catching up to Claude. It may surpass Claude at some point in the future. Who knows? Chatty is doing a great job of catching up, but it's still quite behind. But anyway, I don't want to go off on a tangent. Let me just get on with the show. And of course, when I finish sharing this with you, if I'm in the mood and I've got the energy and everything, I'll absolutely tell you about other things that are happening. I know, so much fun. Welcome to a Saturday morning. I'm freezing, but let's go. Okay, so when you're in ChatGPT at the moment, what is really common is that we would just go into it and we're going to go back and forth. We're going to open up a new chat and we're going to ask ChatGPT for its ideas, for, its input to help us with something, all the things. And we're going to spend time going back and forth. I mean, honestly, by the time you've done it with Chatty, you've probably taken 4 times as long as it would have taken you just to go and do it yourself. But anyway, there was this example that I can share with you of somebody was saying, why would I get my team members to be using AI in my business? I had an Excel spreadsheet and I gave it to my VP and it told him, go and fix the calculations on it with AI. And then I gave it to my receptionist. The receptionist got it back to me in 10 minutes. But the VP with the AI took 4 hours because he was going back and forth. The AI is going to be as good as the user's good, right? But anyway, you're going in, you're having the conversations and you're getting the output, and then you're even still working with it afterwards. You're putting it into a Google Doc and you're refining it, especially if this is something that's going to be written like an email or your website copy or things like that, right? There's still more to do. You don't just take it from chat and then go and throw it up on the website. We want to take it from chat, throw it into a Google Doc, fix it so it sounds like us, and then so there's a lot of steps, right? And there's a lot of manual handling and things like that. But anyway, what ChatGPT has introduced now is something called an agent. So this is the technical bit that I wanted to tell you because, you can sound very smart at parties if you understand what this means. So ChatGPT has got a feature. It's been around for a little while. It's called Workspace. And anyway, in the Workspace, now they've got something called an agent. And agents work a little bit differently. So you set an agent up once and you describe what you want it to do, and you give it access to the resources that it needs to be able to do it. And then you tell it when you want it to do the thing, and that just does it all for you from beginning to end, right? So think about, I don't know, if you were going to create a document or something like that. Some of your steps might be that you want to, I don't know, research something for the document, and then another step might be that you want to write the document, and another step might be that you want to proofread it, and then another step could be that you want to put your branding on it, and then another step might be that you want to save it to your Google Drive, and then another step might be that you want to, I don't know, review it or send it to someone or post it somewhere, whatever, right? But there's steps. And so when you're using ChatGPT in the traditional way, you're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you and Chatty are doing the steps one at a time, right? So you might be having a conversation about, finding some research, just using this example, finding some research for the report that you want to write. And you might do that for a little while. And then, look, you could stay in that conversation, or you might start a new one, doesn't matter, but you're going to move on to the next thing, right? Which would be actually putting it together as a document and writing the report. And then you're going to ask it to do the next thing and the next. So it all happens with you, and there's a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's time consuming, even though it's meant to be saving us time. But with an agent already knows the steps that you want it to do because, well, you teach it first, right? And there's ways that you do that, but you give it instructions, and you test the instructions and everything, and you practice with it, and you make some refining, of course. And then once you're happy with it, you just push play and it will go and do it for you, right? Without you needing to do anything. That's an agent. So an agent is like an employee that knows one particular task of one particular job, and it does that thing, only that thing, right? So if you had, I don't know, let's say you had a receptionist at your private practice, and maybe her job is only to answer the phones, and there's steps, right? She's got instructions. You've told her, I want the phone picked up within the first 3 rings, and this is how I want you to greet the caller, and this is how I want you to handle this type of inquiry or that type of inquiry. This is how I want you to close the call, right? You give that receptionist hypothetically a set of instructions, and she's going to do that. And then you would think in your mind, in AI speak, that's an agent. Okay, does that make sense? And then if you wanted a receptionist to, I don't know, be in real life and process payments with clients as they were coming into the practice or something, well, you would tell that receptionist, right, your job is meet and greet clients when they turn up at the practice, check them off as attended in the diary so that the practitioner knows that their next client is in reception waiting for them. Process the payment, get their credit card details, enter the credit card details into the system, or swipe the card, process the high caps. You're going to have this, give them the receipt, and then tell them to go and wait, comfortably in reception, help themselves to a magazine and a cup of tea and a Scotch finger biscuit or something, they're the steps. So that then becomes an agent. Does that make sense? So an agent does one task from beginning to end of a job. That's probably the best analogy that I can give you, okay? Whereas without an agent, what's happening is I'm still in my metaphor, don't worry, is you're running your practice, but you're constantly going back and forward with your receptionist. So she's there, she wants to help out, she's motivated, she's ready to go, she's knowledgeable and everything, but she doesn't answer the phone the right way. So then you're having to explain to her, yeah, well, I would just prefer that you answered the phone in my voice. And so she's going to have a guess at what that sounds like. And you're going to stand there and observe her as she answers the next call. And then she's going to hang up and you're going to give her feedback and you're going to say, oh, it was pretty good, but I would just really rather if you sounded more like me, or if you sounded more professional. So can you just do it more professionally? And then you're going to stand there and you're going to listen to her do the next call and you're going to say, that was probably too professional. Can you do it? Maybe use a warmer voice. And she's going to say, okay, sure, you're right. That was too professional. Let me try in a warmer voice. And she's going to do that. And then eventually you'll get that bit right. And then you'll want to say to her, okay, so, the way that you greeted the caller, you said, welcome to the practice. What I would rather you say is this. And then she's going to be clarifying with you. And do you see how that is wasting so much of your time versus teaching them exactly step to step, end to end, what you want them to do? Yeah. Do you see how that? And then you can go out there and you can observe her as much as you like, but she knows the process and she just does it the way that you want. And you just go and review it every now and again just to make sure she's still doing it the right way. And if you decide you want to change the way, then you go and tell her, hey, I'm changing the way, right? The instructions are getting changed. Our operating procedures are getting changed. I've updated the manual, on the intranet. Go and have a look at it over here. And I've sent you an email with the relevant bits, right? You're going to do that. It's the same here. So that's what an agent is, okay? If you've been using Claude, you've already got agents. Maybe you've already been using them. But anyway, if you're in Chatty, they're new for you and this is what they are. So you just kind of describe what you want it to do. You tell it how you want it to do the things, when you want it to do the things. So this is the other, right? It's automated. You can automate it. So or not, you could just set up your agent to run manually. So maybe, maybe you've got a structure of a work cover report that you want written a certain way, or an NDIS plan review and you want it written a certain way. It's your way, your style, your format, all of the things. Well, you're not going to need to run that every Monday at 5:00. You're only going to need to use that kind of when you need to, on demand type thing. But there are going to be other agents that you can set up that will run weekly or maybe daily. Okay. And those ones you can just automate and you can say, I want you to run every Monday at lunchtime or every Thursday at 3. Okay. And it will do things for you. It's so easy. You don't have to be there. You don't have to type anything. It's going to pull the information that it needs and it's going to give you the output wherever you tell it to. Okay. So for example, if you're using Claude, you can get the output sent over to your Google Drive or as a draft email or like anywhere. With ChatGPT, now you can do the same thing, right? So you just say where you want it to go. And as I said, it happens all without you even needing to be there. So just another sort of concrete example is maybe imagine that you've got a task that happens every Monday morning. And usually somebody might open up the Google Drive at the practice, pull together information from one of your Google Sheets, and maybe they're going to write like a little bit of summary on that. Maybe it's about your KPIs for last week, right? Maybe every Monday morning you have a meeting and that meeting is about how many inquiries did we get last week? How many people attended their appointments? Did everybody's diary get full? How many cancellations were there? Or whatever. And anyway, and then write that summary and then you're going to go and put it somewhere, right? Maybe in the drive, in the cloud or something. And that task looks exactly the same every single week. And maybe it takes somebody about 20 or so minutes to do it, right? If you have an agent though, whether you're in Claude or ChatGPT, it can do all of that without a human. It's going to open up the drive. It's going to go and find the Google spreadsheet. It is going to pull the relevant data, put together a summary for you, and store it wherever you want it stored. Okay, easy. You just set it up once and then it just runs, you know? It's so cool. It's so cool. The other thing too is, as I was saying, like you can do this already with Claude, and I use it with Claude Scheduled Tasks, and I've spoken about it before on the podcast. But basically, you just anything that's going to be a repeatable task, a repeatable workflow, you just set it up, set a schedule, and then Claude just does it for you without you needing to initiate. So yeah, the way that I do it, like I've got a few automations that I run, but my podcast is one of them now. And so my agent runs on a Tuesday and a Friday, because I just want it a day before I record my podcast. But what it does is it just goes and finds some information for me that I'm interested in, and then it's going to pull together key points. It makes me the show notes so that I can put them straight into the podcast when I go to publish it. It gives me my speaking points. It gives me the Facebook post to share. It writes an email for me. Not that I've sent any of the emails yet, by the way, but it writes an email for me. And yeah, so it does all of this, and it does it as I said, twice a week, because I publish twice a week. I don't, with my computer, I'm just working from home in a home office. But even so, I mean, there's really no one here to look at it, look at my computer. But the thing is, like when you're running on Claude and you want to use your agent and things like that, it won't work if your screensaver is turned on, or if your computer is, sleeping, or if your computer's turned off. It needs active, internet to be able to do it. But ChatGPT doesn't. So even if your computer is like having a bit of a sleep, it's having a nap, screensaver's on, it will still work with ChatGPT. So that's something to be aware of. So with my tasks, I just run them during business hours. It's not a problem. So I can be, I don't know, maybe I'm listing something on my Etsy store, and then I will just get a little notification, because I've set Claude to give me notifications when it's about to do things and when it's finished them, so I can intervene if I need to. And then I just get like a little notification on my Mac, and it just says, yeah, I'm about to do this thing for you now. I'm like, yep, cool, off your trot. And a few minutes later it's messaging me back going, yeah, it's all done. Great. So I don't really have to worry about that. But if you're using a computer that is accessible, maybe you're thinking, I'll just leave my computer on because I want it to run overnight. I just want to come into work and everything's done. I would say you can, but make sure that your office door is locked, like nobody can get in, not even the cleaner. You've got to be mindful about your privacy and things like that. And while I'm always recommending at the moment, I would prefer maybe just to guide you not to use your client data in it just yet. Your computer is still available, right? So outside of ChatGPT or outside of Claude, somebody else can go into your Xander if they know the login, or they can go into your email. If they've just got to click it to open up your iCloud, boom, they're in your email, and blah 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 blah. So I think, if you are, maybe you've got a brick and mortar practice and there's a few people there, or you're renting rooms and things like that, I would probably just run your agents during office hours, so that then you could just close the computer as you normally do before you leave. Yeah, that's probably my only real recommendation. Now, there is an important difference between the way ChatGPT Workspace does this and how Claude does this. ChatGPT uses the whole entire internet, and it keeps everything in the cloud. So that's very, very important. It needs all of that information. But with Claude, it does everything on your local computer. So for me, I think Claude is probably a better option. And so I will be sticking with Claude for that reason. Yeah, I'm just having a quick look because I've got my show notes generated by Claude and I've gone off topic, and I don't want to repeat myself, but let me just see what he's saying. Yeah, most of my clients in Practice Momentum produce content every week. It might be things like Facebook posts, the newsletters, LinkedIn posts, the YouTube content that they're doing, things like that. And of course, there's setup work involved. You've got to figure out what you're going to post. If you don't have your content calendar, you've got to actually create the content. You've got to get it out, all those things. And then you've got to make it look nice, right? And then you've got to market it, etc., etc., etc. But if you use a agent, so in ChatGPT, it's called a workspace agent. It's just in regular agent over in Claude. You can set it up and it will run like, I don't know, every Friday, 9 a.m. It will open up your Google Calendar, look at the following week, draft 5 content topic ideas, for example, based on what's coming up in your, schedule at work. It can save those ideas to a Google Doc. And then on Monday morning, you can open up that document and you've got starting points already there, right? So you didn't have to think about it over the weekend. And the agent actually ran while you were in session on the Friday, right? So you can easily do it that one. That way, another example might be maybe you've got a folder in your Drive, iCloud or Google Drive, like wherever you keep your business documents, or maybe your fee schedules or your intake process outlines, your templates of any documentation, things like that. You might be able to create an agent that could check the folder, quarterly and flag any document that hasn't been updated in the last, 6 months or so. Save a list of those documents to a file for you, and then add that file to your own quarterly business check-in, right? So it's doing maintenance work for you. It's reducing your cognitive load, which is why I am such a fan of this. Like, if you're neurodivergent, AI is amazing. It can absolutely be amazing, because I'm not speaking for all people who are neurodivergent here. I'm just speaking for me. But a lot of the time you've got a lot going on in your head and you feel like everything is a priority and everything is urgent, and it's really hard to untangle things. And it's why we start lots of things and we've got so many things on the go and we often feel overwhelmed. And there's also the pressure of remembering everything, which is why we drop the ball a lot. So I don't know, for me, it can look like saying to somebody, oh yeah, let me take care of that for you. And I have every intention of taking care of it for them, but then something will distract me and I get focused on the thing that's distracting me, and the thing I was going to be taken care of just evaporates from my mind until, whenever somebody comes back to me and says, oh, how did you go taking care of the thing? Or I can send a email and say, yeah, find your website, wellness check attached, and forget to actually attach it, right? Things like that can happen. And that's the value, I think, of AI agents for people like me, and perhaps like you too, who also maybe struggle with distraction and forget things, and even though you don't intend to and you don't want to, it happens. So I call it cognitive load. It's called cognitive load. It just means that it frees up your brain because you've handed it off to someone. And I think it's really, 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 really helpful for people who are just starting out in private practice, or who are in private practice that's not yet profitable, like they're not paying themselves yet and things like that, because I like to think of the agents, as I said, I've just got my own little metaphor, but think of them as what I was explaining to you before about the receptionist, right? Just think of them in your mind as an employee. So if you had this is my other metaphor, right? Now it's like you have an unlimited budget. You've got, funds readily accessible, and you've just been told you can go and hire whoever you want to help you with your private practice, to your social media management or your content creation or this or that, you can make the agent to do that. So you can create your own employee. So when you see people talking about, oh yeah, go and make your own employee, this is all they mean. Okay. So anyway, I think for neurodivergent people and ADHD people, like this will really, really, really help you. Yeah. And think about it, like, I'm just thinking about conversations I've had myself with ChatGPT that went on and on and on. And then because I was using a free account and I didn't know, the conversation would start to drag and it would become slow. And then he was just like forgetting what we'd spoken about. And I was having to remind him. And then he was like, oh, yeah, we did talk about. And it was just like crazy town. And then all the hallucinations and stuff like that. It took hours sometimes. Like I lost whole mornings, whole afternoons, sometimes a whole day with the AI. But now you can just set this up once and you don't have to worry about losing your morning or losing your afternoon. And what are you going to do with that time? Right? You're going to go and see another client and make some more money, or you're going to go and write your program and help more people, or you're going to knock off early every Friday and go and have the massage, right? Things are going to get better for you. So really, 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 really good. Yeah, I would just, again, like, I know I belabor the point, but just be mindful about the privacy and things like that. Yeah. What else? I'm just having a quick scan of my notes just to make sure. Yeah, no, I think that's all. I'm just checking. Right, so to use the agents on ChatGPT, you do need a paid account. They're not available on the free or the plus accounts. But if you're in Claude, you can go and get started. So much fun, so much fun, so much fun. And if you want to see like how to make your agents do all of the things, and you want to see what I'm doing and what I'm creating and get some templates, come over to my new group. It's the Therapist AI Resource Hub. I'll put the link below. So I know, how much fun is that? If you're here just to listen to me talk about like serious work things, you're good to go now, because I'm just going to kick on and talk about real life things now. But thank you very much for being here, and I will catch you in the Wednesday episode. If you need anything in the meantime, of course, let me know. Oh, by the way, before you go, I did open up space to do 10 more website wellness checks. 7 went yesterday when I put the announcement up, but there's 3 left. And anyway, and then I'm just going to take a break from them for a little while, because they're work, right? I like doing it, but they work, because I've got other things to focus on. And of course, one of the things to be focusing on is the move to the new house, which is taking place in 27 days. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. But get this, I am a conundrum. No, I'm an enigma, because I've been looking forward to this day for so long, and I really thought that once I was in the throes of, signing contracts and, doing the stamp duty and all of the things, I really thought that I was going to be out getting furniture and doing this and doing that and, packing. I'm so excited to be packing, and I'm excited at the idea of decluttering and everything. And it's getting closer, I'm counting the days, as you just heard, and I don't know, maybe it's the ADHD, but I've done nothing. I haven't lifted a finger, which is totally surprising me, and yet not. Like, it's surprising me because I thought I was going to be like right in there, ready to go, boxes packed ahead of the time. But ADHD's kicked in and said, oh, well, it's the 4th of June. This is all happening. Let's start packing at, midnight on the 3rd. But I'm going to have to do something about that, because that's not going to work. That is not going to work. And I'm having, for some reason, I was speaking to somebody else about this the other day. I was saying like, yeah, I can go and make all those really cool things with AI, and there's more things in the pipeline I haven't shared with you yet because I want to test them and everything first. But there's some really cool things that I've been working on behind the scenes, and I've just forgotten what I was going to say. Doesn't matter. It'll come back to me later. yeah. Oh yeah, she's like, you can make all these really cool things with AI. Like it's so hard and so technical, but you're just there doing it, but you can't sort of figure out your day. I'm like, I know. You would think that organizing a moving truck was an easy task, but no, not for me. I know there's probably some of you listening going, well, wouldn't you just like ring them and tell them to come on the 5th? But part of me is like, well, no, because I get my keys on the 4th. So I want to move on the 4th. But then somebody else said to me, yeah, and you know that things don't always go through on the day. And you don't want to be waiting there on the day with a moving truck out the front of a property that you can't access. And then what's going to happen? And I was like, oh gosh. So yeah, just little things like that my brain doesn't even consider, and it's thrown a real spanner in the works because I'd planned on having tradies over there on the Friday before I got Buddy. So I've already contacted his babysitter and said, you know, can he come over to your place on the 4th, which is a Thursday night? Can he come over to your place on the 4th, stay the night? Because I thought that'll give me a chance to like move in and, you know, get shopping and toilet paper and coffee and like essentials in, get the fridge turned on and all of that sort of stuff, so that when he comes, like it'll be nice for him. Plus, I wanted to just like this is how my mind works. I was like, I want to get all these tradies in at the exact same time and just get everything done on the one day. Like, nothing needs doing to this place. This is just me doing extras. Like I want to put dimmer switches on all of my lights, and I want to add more downlights in the kitchen. I want to put them in my wardrobes. I want to put them in my cupboards. I want to put extra lights in my lounge room. I want dimmers in the bathroom. I want, you know, wall panel heater put up in the study, like just things like that. The plumber, I want the plumber to come and put in a special tap, and the tap goes in the kitchen and it does 3 things. I know, this is what I mean. Like this is just luxury Brooklyn, you know, come to the party now. And she's like, we're going to get this tap and it's got 3 things. And one is it gives you like boiling water for your coffee or your cup of tea. The other one is it gives you, I'm choosing ambient, but you can get chilled, filtered water. And then the third one is it also dispenses sparkling water, soda water. I know, like luxury. I want that. Why shouldn't I have that? Like, I want that. But anyway, I just thought if Buddy's there while all of this is happening and people are coming and going, there's going to be barking and chaos, because he can be chaotic. He's like me. He can be chaotic. And especially because, you know, tradies are going to be in the house 1 minute and then they're going to be walking through the lounge room the next to get out to their vehicle where they've got the tool that they need that they didn't bring inside the first time and the things, right? Plus, I want a grout person in because I want to change the colour of the grout. I know, it's just like, do I need it? No. Is the grout functional at the moment? Yes. Do I want it? Yes. And so I'm just going to get it done. But I don't want Buddy around the fumes, right? So, plus I don't want him getting in everybody's way, and I don't want like stray floating dog hair in the air getting stuck in the grout and the things, right? So anyway, I'd lined people up to come on Friday, but now my friend's like, well, you might not even get in until Friday. So now I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to have to rearrange everything, and people are just all going to have to come on the Monday or the Tuesday. But that's when I tend to see most of my clients. So maybe I'll just get them in on the Wednesday, but then that's frustrating because then Buddy will be there, which, like, I love him and everything, but it's just going to be, as I said, chaos and noise, and I don't like noise or chaos. I like to be the chaos, but I don't like to have it around me. But anyway, I'm sure I'll survive. I'm sure I'll figure it all out. And I don't have to have everybody there on the one day. It's just, to me, it feels easier. It's like ripping off the Band-Aid, just get it done, rather than have to, I guess, manage my work day and manage Buddy over multiple days because multiple tradies. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I've done nothing now. I still have to organise that, and time's ticking because I know you've got to book people ahead. So if you have any tips, let me know. If you need anything made for you with AI, you let me know though. Yeah, so I do want to start, and I get excited about decluttering, so that will be good. And then apart from that exciting news, something else is, remember I told you that I'd been watching Diary of a CEO by Stephen Bartlett, and it's on YouTube if you want to go and have a look, and it's really great. And he was interviewing a guy called Wesley Huff, who is a historian, theologian. I think he's 33, and he's Canadian, and he's doing his PhD on, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like the accuracy of what's in the Bible. So anyway, like expert. And I've been loving it, as I said last time, from an academic perspective, and I'm open-minded, right? I'm open-minded. I love learning about all of this stuff. But anyway, he was talking about at one point, well, he said many, many things, and some of them went over my head, and I will have to watch it again. But one of the things that he was talking about was, what was it? I think Stephen Butler was asking him about, do you have to go to church and do all the good deeds in order to go to heaven and stuff like that? And Stephen explained that, and he was saying it's about your relationship with God, and that's what is the important thing. It's not how many times you go to church, it's not how many good deeds you do, it's not things like that, just it's more about the relationship. And he was verifying this statement with evidence from, academia, other researchers, all of this. And so it kind of stuck with me because I think we're in the business of relationships, but also because it's now making me think about, oh, well, all the time when I'm doing my journaling and I'm channeling, I'm connecting with source, right? Or my pa who's crossed over, or Gabe, my, past fur baby who crossed over, things like that. And so it's got me wondering, like, well, what happens to that then? And then I was thinking, how do you do the relationship thing? Like, I'm not sure. I've never done it. And then I was thinking, maybe it's just the same way that I currently do it. But then I kind of got in my head about it. But then I just thought, I'll just have a go. So I just maintained the journaling, but I was just more in my mind about now including, I still don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know if I'm saying God, the Holy Spirit, like whatever. I'm so new at this. As I said, no idea what I'm doing. I'm just having a crack. And anyway, I was just like including that in what I already do in an existing practice. And anyway, one of the things that Wes Huff was saying was God isn't a genie, right? You can't just like ask for magic. You can't ask for the wishes and all of these. Like, it's more relational. You focus on that rather than the wishing. And so anyway, that's what I was doing, blah, blah, blah. And then the other thing was when I was in Daylesford and I saw Liv and the card reader, whose name I can't remember. Liv was the Reiki person. I had back-to-back appointments with these two practitioners, right? And they were in rooms that had a room in the middle. So there's 3 or 4 rooms in the corridor. The card reading I had first, and that was in the first room. And then I went and saw Liv in room 3. So they didn't even hear each other. There's no way they could have heard each other. But anyway, when I had the card reading, the lady who was doing the reading, she's also a medium, and one of the things she told me, lots of messages that came through. And one of the things that she said to me was, she said it nicely, but it was along the lines of I needed to spend more time in gratitude and being grateful and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was kind of taken aback by it because, well, old programming, I feel like I've had a tough life. This is so embarrassing to say out loud. I feel like I've had a tough life. And a lot of the time I feel like I don't know that I've really got much to be grateful for because I've struggled and I've battled and it's been so freaking hard. And so I go through these phases where I don't know, like, what am I meant to be grateful for? Am I grateful for the sun today? Like, do I just get as basic as that when I'm like reaching. So anyway, and then there are other times I've got so much to be grateful for and I'm in the zone and I can happily go about, feeling grateful and everything. But she said it and it kind of took me aback, especially because I've been having a really, really hard time. I just found out about the house and how it was a tear down, and so I was heartbroken about that. But bigger than the house was what the house meant and what the house represented. And now that was gone. And then I was also, I guess, dealing with the reality of nothing's going to change for me right now. So I hadn't been in a space of gratitude really, other than just trying to anchor into my little belief that things are always working out for me and I'm always where I need to be. And it's this or something better, right? I was really trying to hold on to that belief that I have, that the faith in that little mantra. And anyway, so when she tells me this about being grateful, it kind of like, I was like, taken aback and a little bit offended and, anyway. And then I finished the session with her and she was like, oh gosh, it's 11, let's get you in to see Liv. And she walked me, past the middle door number 2, and then I went in to see Liv and I was handed over and it was great. And then when I had my Reiki session with Liv and that finished and she was sharing with me afterwards the messages that she received, she said something that was almost exactly the same. And she said, she said it really nicely. She was like, oh, it's just a prompt. They're just, they're not saying that you're not grateful or anything, but they're just sort of reminding you about, gratitude, and that might be something that you want to, just take with you. And so I was like, okay, loud and clear, I'm getting this about the gratitude. So when I was doing the journaling on whichever day it was this week, that came into my mind. And also, I've been watching more Wes Huff videos on YouTube. And so I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And so I was trying to do a list of all of the things that I was grateful for. And it reminded me of manifesting because, that was something else I'll tell you about as well. But when I first started learning about manifesting, one of the things that I learned was about raising your vibration through gratitude. And even if you're reaching, starting with small things means that you can then see more things and more things and more things, and then you start seeing more and more and more and more, and it expands, right? And it's a technique and a strategy that really has worked for me in the past. And so I was just leaning into that, and I started to notice more things coming out onto the page to be grateful for. And then I was feeling better, and I was feeling hopeful, and I was feeling all of the things. It was great. And then I decided that I was going to include a request. So I was like, also, like, thank you for inspiration in my business. I'm feeling really creative at the moment. I've just realized something as I was about to say that when I said I've been feeling really creative at the moment. This is interesting. Okay. One of the other things that I learned, I'm just speaking about Wes Huff because I've just latched on, as you can hear. I've tried to listen to a few other people. It's just not for me. So Wes is my person at the moment. But anyway, what was he saying? Oh, he was saying something about being creative. And that's how, that's your gift, your creativity, right? Your outpouring of creativity is important, and it's significant, and it's why you're here, and it's what you're meant to do, and you're creating, right? You are creating. And he was sharing his belief or his understanding was that when you're creating things, when you're being creative, that's you can think that that's God working through you. I always just thought it was source or the universe, right? But same but different, I guess. Anyway, so I was like, yep, bring it. I'm happy for that. Let's go. And I just realized as I was saying this to you that I have been so creative, and it's been next level creativity this week. Like I made tool that helps people who've got a Psychology Today profile that isn't generating them any inquiries. I made a tool this week and it didn't take me long to make because I was in flow, which I thought was the hyper focus, but also I get in flow when I'm feeling really creative. So I don't know, could have been Source, could have been the Holy Spirit, who knows? But I was super duper creative and I made this tool. It didn't take me long. And then I just thought, oh yeah, I'll let a few people know about it. And I ended up putting it into my Etsy store because when I was speaking to you on Saturday last week, or was it Wednesday last week, I was like, yeah, I want to start putting more stuff in my Etsy. And so I just went and listed it in Etsy and it sold, I think, 6 times. I sold another one this morning. I know, I'm not even marketing this thing, but it just took off. And this morning I sent an email just to, because now I've seen that it's validated, like people want it. I thought, oh yeah, well, I'll just email everybody about it. So I sent that out this morning too. But I made that and then I made a bunch of other things and they all came very, very easily. It was like I didn't even have to think about it. I just knew what I needed to create and I created them. And some of the things I put into my AI hub and then other things I just put on Etsy and other things I have just given direct to clients and I haven't put them out in the public domain for consumption yet. But yeah, I've just been like feeling so inspired. And now I'm thinking, oh, like as I'm telling you, I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if this is why. I don't know. It's been ages since I felt inspired. I mean, the psychologist in me would probably say, well, you're not as stressed as you were. You're not experiencing all the things that you were before because you've now got this house on the horizon and, the stress has lifted around getting the house and organising contracts and doing year inspections and doing all of the things like that's all lifted now. And so that's probably helping. And I would say you're right. But this is also something else. And other people probably say, well, you're always making stuff, you're always producing, and you're always coming up with ideas. And that's true too. But this just feels different this time. That's really the only way that I can describe it. But anyway, call it what you want, attribute it to what you want. I don't know. But here's the other really cool thing. I was inspired to create a whole new way of working and I couldn't believe it. This inspired idea just came like I don't know, it was just like there. It just hit me out of the blue. And straight away I started thinking about it and I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And then I did it for a client and she was like, oh my gosh, this is next level. This was so helpful. And I was so excited. And then because I was just like in my unbridled excitement, you know how you want to tell people? Yeah. Well, I didn't tell anybody except for one person who's I've just lost my screensaver's come on. I told one person, she's a client of mine that I work with, and she makes programs for women who have been diagnosed with ADHD, and so I just knew like she would get it. So yeah, I had to share it with her, and it was so lovely because she was like, oh, this is such a great idea, and yeah, it was so nice, and it just spurred me on. And then the whole thing came together so quickly, and would you believe it too has taken off like hotcakes. I'm so here we go, thankful. There you go, thankful. I'm thankful. So truly thankful because, again, it means like good things for me. I don't have to do appointments. It's like I'm all about appointment-free work these days, even though I'm very passionate about helping you market your practice and fill your diary and things like that. I'm just in a different space. I've hit the pause button on working with therapy clients, and I'm only working with practice owners or people who are finishing their quals and they're getting ready to start their practices and everything. But yeah, It's a very, very exciting time. And I don't know if I said this to you before or not either, but I just feel like I'm on the brink of something. And I've been feeling this way for probably about 6 or so months. It's a feeling that I cannot shake. I just feel like there's something there. And I was telling somebody during the week as well, like, you know, I'm 51 and on my feed, like if I look at something that's got, somebody in her 50s in it, all of a sudden I'm getting all this stuff in my feed about wrinkle creams and about, menopause stuff and about, I'm not into any of that, right? I'm not. I'm getting stuff in my feed about retiring and slowing down. I was saying to somebody this week, I feel like I'm just getting started. Like, how are people slowing down at 50? Like, I don't get that at all. I'm just getting started. And I know, I just feel it in my bones that there's something exciting on the horizon. I have no idea what it is, but I'm open. I'm open. Do you have that feeling too? Like, I don't know, is it a Gen X thing? I don't know. Is it just a me thing? But are you feeling it too? Do you feel like, I don't want to say you're meant for more because I think that's so cliche and it's not really about being meant for more, but do you just feel like you're also on the cusp of something, that you're going to do in your business or maybe in your life, but you just feel like it's there, but you just can't put your finger on it. It's like that feeling I was saying last time about it's on the tip of your tongue and you just can't grasp it yet, but you know that it's there. If you are, let me know because I would love to talk with you about it and see what it's like for you to experience this and how you're handling it. I mean, for me, what it's looking like is I'm just being, as I said, completely open and I'm taking every opportunity to try new things because I guess I feel like in terms of human design, I'm a generator. I'm a generator. That's pretty obvious, isn't that? Like I'm always generating stuff. But I know that I'm going to get this wrong. If you're a human design person, please don't be offended. I'm going to get it wrong. I forget how you say it. But anyway, my way, if you like, is to respond to things. So I like to see things and then get inspired by what I see. For example, I never write a shopping list, but I can go to the fruit and veg shop and I can get inspired by how good the tomatoes look that day. Or I can go into a bookstore and I'm not looking for a book on psychology or business or anything like that, but I will go in and I will just see something and I just know I've got to get that book. That's how I work. So I'm just really leaning into that. And anything that I'm seeing that I'm interested in, I'm sending to myself in Messenger. This is my other hack. So you know how you put stuff in how you go add to cart, and then you usually don't buy the stuff. Or my other favorite thing to do is screenshot stuff. So I've got thousands of pictures in my phone that I never look at, but in the moment I feel so compelled to screenshot things. So I'm screenshotting. But now my latest thing is if I see something on Facebook or Instagram that I'm interested in, I will send it to myself in Messenger. And actually that's working really, really well because what I do now is on the weekends, I have my coffee, I pat my dog, and I sit down and I go through what I've sent myself on Messenger. And it's easy because clickable links, right? I've got loads of clickable links. It just makes my life so easy. And yeah, so that's providing me with inspiration. And I think for me anyway, that inspiration is what leads to the creativity and the new ideas. And I think that's what's going to lead to the thing. So I'm waiting to be inspired and I don't know where it's going to come from. I know it's going to happen for me and I'm very, 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 very excited about it. But yeah, I would love to hear from you if you are in a similar place and you're also feeling like there's something, you just know that there's something and you're quite excited about it. And you're open and you're just waiting for it to happen. And in the meantime, you're just showing up, doing the things that you can. Yeah. Anyway, I will let you go. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking. But have a lovely day. I hope that this was useful for you, hearing about the agents, and I hope it's all been demystified a little bit. And yeah, if you need any help with any of your practice stuff, of course, let me know. I do have a serious side as well. Okay, thanks for being part of my world, guys. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorm.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.